Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. How are you today? Really excited to be here because today we are talking about really how to, the importance of having a vision, right? And so if you feel like you are someone that maybe craves knowing something more. You have potential and you keep getting in your own way. You find reasons for things not to work out and you're wanting to be moving in the right direction, but something keeps holding you back. That is you, then you are in the right place. And I'm Larissa McCooch. I'm an author, speaker, and CEO of Larissa McCooch Coaching. And I help people unlock their magic and become what they're capable of being by releasing where they're stuck and taking action on it. And I remember there was a time where I was traveling. Right? I used to travel a lot, a lot. I love staying home. I've got my fill of travels, but I used to travel a lot. And there was a time I was traveling with my husband to Rome. We had finished a dance tour, and he convinced me to stay in Rome for an extra week. I love dance tours because everything was planned. You show up, it's all organized, it's all planned. And one of the conditions was I will go to Rome with you for a week. As long as you plan everything, you create you create the whole vision of this trip. My vision was for him to create all the plans. And I'm just going to kick along. I'm going to be a sidekick and I'll have a great time because I had no desire to do any of that. And so it's one of our first days on this trip, and we're sitting in Rome at the restaurant at breakfast. And he asks me what I want to do that day. And I, at the time, knew nothing about Rome other than it was in Italy. I knew there were a lot of churches and concrete buildings and a lot of history. Other than that, I knew nothing about Rome. And there's a Colosseum. But I didn't study a lot of Roman history. I didn't know much about it. And I was very frustrated as soon as he asked me that question. And the more he asked me for my opinion, the more frustrated I got because it wasn't part of my vision. And so 2 hours later, we were still in our hotel trying to decide what to do. And it was really, really frustrating. And this went on for a couple of days until I finally decided to take a new perspective. And sometimes we need to take a new perspective, whatever it is that we're doing. And it reminds me of a story where I watched a movie when I was a kid. It was The Miracle Worker, and it was all about Helen Keller, who was a girl that was born in Alabama in 1880. And she was born deaf and blind. And she had a teacher that started working with her. Her name was Anne Sullivan. And she got so curious to really learn, grow, and develop. And she ended up being the very first deaf and blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree and really create impact throughout the entire world in terms of what's possible, not only for her, but for others as well. Right. And I think that is so huge because when you can start creating possibility for others, that leaves the world a better place. None of us were put on this planet to sit in a box, not talk to anyone, not make any kind of impact in the world. We were all put on this planet to do something more, to be something more, to have more, because more will create better with the right intention. And I remember it was about 20 years ago when I was sitting in my very first goal setting workshop. And I was there. I was working in the world of personal finance. So I was new to the workforce and I'm in this office. Our entire office got together just before the holidays. So it might have been a couple of weeks later than now, but just before the holidays. It's a good time to really plan the next year and get things set. And so we were strategically setting goals for ourselves and for our team, and the branch manager was leading this entire process. It was a group process that was led, and I remember for the very first time ever, I could see how I could actually be more, how I could actually do more, and I could have more if I actually set my mind to it. Prior to that, I just coasted and I just went with things as they came. And I never had given things a lot of prior thought. I never had plans for the future. I never thought of setting goals. It was just like, yeah, sure, goal setting, sure, whatever. It didn't make sense to me. But going through this process was so simple and so profound that I got so excited. And I had this picture of how the branch manager's vision had actually been carried out through the prior year, because she shared it with us, and I got to really experience that. And that was so exciting because it was like finishing a jigsaw puzzle and learning how to create my own. So sometimes when we're frustrated, because we put ourselves in situations that aren't ideal, and then we don't change our perception of the situation, it can lead to a place of being frustrated. But that frustration can easily turn into curiosity if you take a new perspective. And I think curiosity is so important in terms of finding new opportunities and really leading to a place of being excited, being fulfilled, and really getting juiced up about what is out there, what is possible for yourself and for your life. So, topic of today is the importance of having a vision for your future. Right? So let's talk about vision and the importance of having that vision for your future. Now, have you ever put pen to paper and created what you thought was just a genius plan, but then nothing really happened with it? It got buried under a pile of papers, you lost it, you forgot about it, you didn't really do much with it. Or maybe you've heard yourself telling people, I want to do this, but never really mentioning it again, and it just didn't happen. And you've heard of people having visions for their future and visions of what's possible, but every time you really think about what that means, it's like, well, what does that mean? I don't have a picture. I close my eyes and I don't see a picture. It's just kind of dark and there's dots or there's colors that happen. I don't see a picture when I close my eyes and try to visualize. You just come up blank. And that's common, right? That's common. It happens all the time. But when you have a vision, we're going to get deeper into this, but when you have a vision, it really acts like a compass to keep you on course. A vision will pull you forward and it'll give you a reason to literally do, or have things magically work out in your life. When you have a vision, you're going to see the future, and I will explain that a little more in a bit. You're going to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. You're going to be totally fired up. You're going to have certainty as to what you're doing, and nothing people say to you is going to throw you off course. You might have bumps in the road, but you're going to get yourself back up and just keep going. You're going to keep moving forward. And as you speak of your vision, you're going to start inspiring other people and really attracting the perfect people to you. You're going to see your goals and dreams come true, many of which you didn't even think were possible at one time. And there is a quote by Helen Keller, and I love this quote because I think it's so profound. And I read about it in there's a decision article that we read. And every time I read this decision article, I've been reading it for a couple months now, it just always speaks to me. And Helen Keller, she says, the most pathetic person in the world is a person who has their sight but no vision. And she was asked, is there anything worse than being blind? And that was her response, because when you're blind, you can't see the world. When you can't hear, you can't hear the world. So she had two of her major senses taken away from her. But she said the most pathetic person in the world is a person who has their sight but no vision. You don't need to have your eyesight in order to have a vision. You just need to have a dream of what's possible. A vision is a dream. A vision is this idea of something bigger, something better, something more impactful and powerful than just you sitting in your house by yourself watching Netflix. There is so much more for us out there, and we are all put on this earth to create beautiful things out there. Right? The idea of a vision for the future, it's been widely believed throughout history. And there were even like the term precognition, right? It means before acquiring knowledge. It's kind of like a psychic term, and it's used in the paranormal world. But I like the term precognition because it means before acquiring the knowledge. You can actually start to visualize things in your future before they haven't happened yet. And everything is energy. Thoughts are energy. You and I are energy. We have energy waves radiating throughout these media right now. And when we really tap into our energy and we really use the energy we have, we can literally turn that idea energy into physical energy. And there's a process that we work through. It's something that we really go through in the Thinking into Results program in more detail. But I want you to plant the seed and plant the idea of everything is energy. And if you can start putting your energy behind things, even before you acquire the knowledge, then you can acquire the knowledge and you can start to manifest those things that you think of in reality. And that's essentially what having a vision is. It's like, I am making up this beautiful piece of art. I am making up this picture, and I am going to create it and turn it into reality. Now, this idea of manifestation or turning thoughts into things was really popularized by Napoleon Hill in the 1920s with Think and Grow Rich, but it wasn't really scientifically backed at this time. And the whole idea of mind turning, like thoughts turning into things, science, it wasn't really backed by science for a while. But there's 3 things in science or from the scientific era that really support this. And I just want to touch on them so you have a slightly better understanding. So the first one, my goodness, my lipstick. The first one, I'm not wearing my lip stain today, so I will remember that for next time. But the first scientific evidence of thoughts turning into things are really the placebo effect. So the placebo effect is used in medical research, and often before they even put out a drug, they test the drug on people with just sugar pills or pills that don't have the actual drug in it and the real drug. And most of the drugs that are put out there on the market, they are not actually, most of the drugs that they want to put out on the market aren't even distributed, because what's found as they are tested is that the majority of drugs, they can't prove that the drugs work, because the people that are taking the placebos and genuinely believe that they have this drug and it's going to work for them, they get better. And so most of the placebos, they actually work, right? So the fact is that most people, when they believe something will work, they will make the change and they will heal their bodies. And that is, I didn't realize that most drugs that were actually put out into testing phase don't make it to the market. I've heard of the placebo effect in the past. When I was doing some research, I stumbled on that fact and I thought it was really profound. And also, this can work in reverse with negative thinking. And they've done studies where medical students, 70 to 80% of medical students actually develop the symptoms of whatever they're studying. And that's really crazy. I know when I used to work in the world of Pilates, there were certain conditions that I would learn about. And sometimes I would start getting those aches and pains and experiencing those symptoms because I wanted to really understand them. And I physically adopted them in my body. And so the placebo effect does work. It can work for the positive or negative, and you have the choice. Okay. Second thing is quantum theory. And this is like, the world of quantum physics can get very complicated, but it basically really looks and studies tiny, tiny particles at the smallest particles of matter. And there's a phenomenon called the observer effect, where particles of matter can actually be dramatically changed simply by observing them, right? You observe a particle and it dramatically changes. And scientists can't explain how that happens, but they do know that our perceptions can change our reality, and they in fact do. So they can't explain it yet, but they can explain, or they can see, and they have proof that our thoughts do change our reality. And so our thoughts can actually have extreme influence over us, both internally and externally. And sometimes there's a quote by Arthur C. Clarke that says, "Magic is just science that we don't understand yet." And I love that quote because I think sometimes when we don't understand things, we doubt it. But what we need to do is really start looking at what we want to understand and gain that better understanding of it. Because the more we increase and raise our awareness, the more powerful we're going to be in terms of the position we're in. There is also, number 3, third scientific evidence is the reticular activation system, okay? Now, the reticular activation system is a critical part of the brain that can and does act like the gatekeeper of information, right? We have 11 million bits of information per second going into our brain and into our nervous system, and it is filtered by many different systems and many different processes. But the reticular activating system is one of the big things. It's the big thing that acts as the filter that takes everything that goes into our world from our senses, from our 5 senses, and determines the priority of information that our body and our conscious mind can actually process. And if the RAS, the reticular activating system, determines it's important, it pops it into our conscious mind and brings it to our awareness. If not, it just files it and filters it, and it keeps it, but it doesn't bring it to our current awareness. Every single bit of information that we encounter does stay in our neurology, and we aren't even aware of it because we cannot process the 11 million bits of information per second. We process about 138. I believe that's the right number. And so that's a very small number. So there's a lot of our world that we experience that we don't actually process and that we can't even understand. So what does all this have to do with having a vision and having this important vision of our future? Well, when it comes to a vision is this picture of your ideal life. It is a picture of your ideal business. It is a picture of your ideal, whatever it is that you are working on or that exists in your world. And this vision, when you create this vision of your future, you want to create it exactly how you want it to be. And sometimes we put negative images into our vision for the future. So if we think about an experience, or if we encounter an experience and we assume that will be our reality, that will be your vision for the future. You will turn that into your reality if you keep focusing on it and dwelling on it and dwelling on it. And I even just last night I became aware of it, but this morning I was lying in bed and I had a few really crazy thoughts come up, right? They were not supportive. They were not supportive of my vision. They were not supportive of my future. They were not supportive of me. And I noticed this and I tried to change them and I couldn't. And I was like, okay, I got to get out of bed. And I had to get up and journal, and I shifted it fairly quickly. But I know in the past, I remembered myself. I'm like, this is how I used to wake up every day. I used to wake up remembering what people had said to me. I used to remember waking up what people were gossiping about. I used to remember about all the negative things people tried to scare me about. I used to remember about all these things that weren't supportive. And that was my reality. That was my reality. And it was scary. And it's ironic that it happened this morning, that happens to us all the time. We are constantly creating visions of what our future is going to be based on our reality. But are you going to let your current reality dictate your future, or are you going to write your own? Because it is scary if you just let whatever is going on in your current reality dictate your future. You want to create a life that you actually genuinely love. And God, the universe, creator, whatever you call it, God doesn't make mistakes. There are no accidents in this world. You were put on this earth for a reason, and you may or may not know what it is. Right? When you bring into your conscious awareness, whatever this reason is, you can live a much more rich and fulfilling life than you have ever had. And it's all about living a beautiful life, whatever that means to you. Your beautiful life is going to be different than my beautiful life. But if you're not waking up looking forward to something in your day, if you're not waking up giving back or contributing to some people, if you're not waking up and learning something in your day and growing and developing yourself, you're not reaching your fullest potential. Because ultimately, we have 6 human needs. And this is something I learned from Tony Robbins. And I loved studying this with him because it was such a powerful thing. And I think it grows more and more powerful the more of this work I do. So our 6 human needs are divided into 2 categories. The first is a lower level need, and the second is a higher level need. And so the lower level needs, there are 4 lower level needs that we all need. These are like our basic primary needs. We need certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, and significance. And when we have this certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, and significance, then that is going to be that's a very powerful place to be, right? We have our basic needs met, and we're going to emphasize a couple of our basic needs more than others. But when we can start tapping into our higher level needs and add the growth and add the contribution, and when we can live our lives with growth and contribution as our highest level needs, as our 2 primary needs, the ones that we thrive with, the ones that we live out, and the ones that we actually experience every single day before all others, that's where we get to the highest point of fulfillment. That's where we live the richest lives. And humans are designed to grow. Humans are designed to contribute. Humans are not designed to live in a box. And sometimes, especially right now, Toronto is on lockdown. Many of us may feel like we're living in a box. But just because you're on lockdown doesn't mean you can't grow. It doesn't mean you can't contribute. It doesn't mean you can't go outside and go for a walk. You've got to get out and expand your world, whatever that means. Okay, so really start meeting those 6 human needs and start creating that vision for the life you want. Right? The vision is that picture of your life as you want it to be. It is the key connector between what you do every single day, all of your daily goals, all of your daily activities, and the lifetime purpose that you have, right? We all have a purpose inside. We all have something that drives us and motivates us inside, and that's going to change for each and every one of us. I know for one of my big purpose is to teach. I love to teach. I have always taught. It is just something I've always done, whether I've been asked to or not, whether I've been paid to or not. I can't help but teach. I have to teach. If I don't teach, I get very grumpy. If I don't teach, something just feels wrong in my body. Look at a graphic designer or an artist. They create and build beautiful things. They can't help but create beautiful things and share their work. And they have this need to create. I have this need to teach. We all have a need. Sometimes we get really hung up on trying to find our purpose. I know I did for a long, long time. And I realized I'm like, well, I just keep teaching. So I guess that's what it is. It really was. I went through many processes to figure that out. It seemed simple, that I made it so complicated. And so that vision, that picture of your future will help you connect what you are born to do on this planet with what you do. So it is like your roadmap. It is that big picture. It is that piece of art that you create in terms of what you want for your future. You want to dare to dream big. So often we hold ourselves back and we just think of doing what we know or what is familiar to us, but you are capable of so much more than you think you are. And if you just applied yourself a little bit more, if you just had a little bit more faith in yourself, you would astound yourself at what you are capable of doing. Emerson has a quote that what lies before you and what lies behind you are tiny matters compared to what lies within you. And I love this quote because it really shows us that what lies within us is just one small piece of what we are capable of in this big and beautiful world. And if you think dreaming is selfish, or if you think going for big goals is selfish, or having a big dream or having a big vision, it isn't. It's actually necessary. People need a vision right now. Your family needs a vision. Your company needs a vision. Your friends need a vision. You need a vision, because especially in this day and age, when you create a vision for your future, it's going to inspire yourself. It's going to inspire others, and it's going to inspire those around you. And you want to make it bigger than just your everyday. it's so key. Now, one thing I'd like to preface this with, or end that point on, is that you want to make sure your vision is of a good nature, because your vision isn't just going to impact you, it's going to impact other people. And there's something called karma out there. And if you have a nasty vision, if you have something truly dark, it's going to come back and bite you in the behind. And that's not going to be fun. It's not a good vision to have. And it's just not a good thing to do. So make sure your vision that you create is honorable, right? You're not going to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect, and you probably won't be. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall on your face, and you're going to do some dumb things along the way. I know I have. You've got to make your intentions honorable and do the best you can. That's your job. So creating a vision is simple, not necessarily easy for everyone. What you want to do is you want to take some time with this. If you have a vision, I'm encouraging you to go out and revisit it. Take another look at it. See what you can do with it. See how you can strengthen it. See how you can enhance it and enrich it and make it flourish even more. Maybe it's literally a picture that you've drawn out. Maybe it's a vision board. Maybe it's a life script that you have. Whatever it is, take the time and go back and revisit it. See what else has come up, because the thing is, visions change. Self-images change. We change because time goes on. So it's not something that is going to be static. It's going to be something that continues to evolve. Ask yourself some really good questions. Take a look at what you really want. Take a look at what you'd love to be, do, or have. Look at different areas of your life. Look at when you're the most satisfied. Look at when you're the most happy. And imagine if nothing could hold you back. Time, money, and energy are not factors, and you can thrive. What would you be, do, or have? Nothing in the world can hold you back. You are the most amazing and magnificent person in the world. There is nobody to tell you you can't do anything. What would you do? That's what you want to write out as a picture of your ideal life. Go life script it. Write it out on a piece of paper. Keep coming back to it. And then go begin to live it. Pick one thing off that picture and start taking action on it. Go choose a goal and take action on it. Don't let it hold you back. And if you're having trouble working through it, we have the Self-Image Bootcamp coming up, right? This is, even if you're not having trouble, this is going to be an incredible experience. This is going to be such a phenomenal event. The Self-Image Bootcamp is something I ran a couple months ago, and I'm bringing back because it had so much demand. And it is a powerful, powerful process I'm going to walk you through. We're going to get together starting December 7th, and we're going to be together for the week. And every day I'm going to teach you a lesson, and I'm going to give you some great information. You're going to have a beautiful workbook. Mine is right here from the last time. We're going to have a new one. So a huge workbook with lots of information that you will be able to keep, and you can keep revisiting over and over again. And this will help you create part of your vision. This will help you create the self-image of who you need to be to carry out that vision. Because so often, one thing I realized is we are so focused on just creating a vision. And I spent a lot of time creating many visions, and I forgot who I needed to be in order to carry that out. I was so desperate for the vision that I had created, I forgot that I needed to be the person that actually carried it out. And so the Self-Image Bootcamp process is so, so key, because we're going to take a look at what you want. We're going to take a look at really who you need to be and how you can become that person and how you can step out of your own discomfort. We're going to look at how you can stop overcoming obstacles that come in your way. We're going to really look at some fun activities. I'm going to give you some fun homework to do, and it is going to be completely transformative. So register for the Self-Image Bootcamp. There is a link in my bio, and there's links all over all of my pages. So definitely link in the bio. There's probably some posts on my account as well. And we'll also add one to the thread here. So click the link to register if you haven't, or if you want to skip the line and book a call with me. I have a few spots that I've opened up this week. There is a link to have a strategy session with me. If you feel like this is something you want to work on and you want to get to it even before the Self-Image Bootcamp. So reach out to me. I'm happy to have a chat and see if there is something I can help you with. If you are feeling stuck, if you are like, I know I should have a vision, but I just don't know how to move forward with it, let's get together and have a chat. So that really is the best way to move forward. And I know that when I attended my first goal setting workshop, I was so excited, but that excitement led me to consistently set goals year after year after year. And that really started a process. That was over 20 years ago, I think 2018, 2004. So 18 years ago, that was my very first goal setting workshop officially. And I've literally tracked the goals. I have a big binder. I love writing my goals out pen to paper because I think it's so much more meaningful. But that process was so exciting and led to something that has been more meaningful to me than many things I've encountered. And, Helen Keller, she started by just being curious about learning and being curious about communicating with people. She learned how to do sign language, but she actually went on to university. She completed university. She wrote a book called The Story of My Life, and that book actually was turned into a movie called The Miracle Worker. She was well-traveled, and she campaigned for women's suffrage, for labor rights, for socialism, for anti-militarism, and so many wonderful causes. And she was actually inducted into the Alabama Women's Hall of Fame in 1971. Her curiosity led to a really exciting and beautiful life. And you don't know what you're capable of, because this blind and deaf woman did not have that in her future when she was born. She did not know she would do that. Her parents didn't know she'd do that, but she had an opportunity and she jumped for it. Somebody believed in her. She took advantage of it. There was a struggle and she did it. And anything is possible. And I know that when I was traveling with my husband, instead of just really looking at my life and the circumstances it was giving me and throwing a hissy fit and being frustrated that things weren't the way I wanted them to be, I really thought about the vision I wanted for my vacation. I really thought about the vision that an ideal vacation would be, what the vision of an ideal vacation would be to me. And I started adopting that. I took on that energy. And rather than being frustrated, I changed that frustration and transformed it to excitement. And it was a super, super memorable trip. It was so exciting. I absolutely loved it. And I treasure so many of the wonderful moments we had there. So you are put on this earth to do beautiful and wonderful things. It is so important for you to have a vision of your future. And you actually have one inside you. All you need to do is take the time to let it come out, let it shine, extract it from you. So go off, spend some time really thinking about what you want that vision to be. Join the Self-Image Bootcamp. Click the link to register. We are starting December 7th. I would love to see you there. Or again, if you want to just book a call with me and have a chat about your vision and really what you want to do with it, then click the link. There's another one in my bio to book a strategy session, and I'm happy to make some time for you. So with that, I will see you next week at the Self-Image Bootcamp. And I cannot wait to get this process started. I will be back again very, very soon. Bye, guys.